Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We've got our post trade deadline week 10 show. It is myself and Jared this week.
Hey,
No Brett. He is dealing with Pennsylvania thunderstorms, and as Jared and I know, those are pretty gnarly sometimes. So,
yep, they definitely can be. Definitely can be.
not as bad as Florida, though. I mean,
No,
not as light as Florida. Florida has it easy. We don't get any storms.
yeah, yeah, no, nothing
Anyway,
like that.
so we did have some football last week. Um, just recapping quickly. So Jared in his pick'ems went 11-3. I went 8-6. Brett went 10-4. Just want to quickly special shout out Jared. I don't know if anyone followed through on it last week, but um, he did get the one of the biggest upsets of the year so far by point spread. So he had picked the Panthers, who were 13.5 point underdogs against the Packers to win, and they did. They were on the road in Green Bay and won the game as 2 touchdown underdogs. Bryce Young came back, and the Panthers' offense looked good enough, I'll say.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
so good stuff. Moving on to this week, we're gonna start with our NFL news, and this is normally Brett, but he's not here, so you got me. All right, so first things first, Jared, you did a prediction earlier this season on NFL record field goal. You were right. There would be a new NFL record this year, and it has felt like that all year. So just want to give you props for kind of calling that in a way. But it is Jaguars kicker Cam Little. He hit a 68-yard field goal against the Raiders last week. Um, we do have 4 teams on bye this week. This is kind of a little out of order, but anyway. Um, the Chiefs, Bengals, Titans, and Cowboys will be on bye. The Cowboys look like they needed the bye. It looks like theirs actually started on Monday night. Um,
Mm,
so
it seemed that way.
it did. We have Jacoby Brissett being named the Cardinals' starting quarterback. They did name him the quarterback before they placed Kyler Murray on injured reserve, but they did end up placing Kyler on injured reserve, so kind of unsurprising there. And we're going to transition from the news, nice little segue for the Cardinals there, from the news straight into our injuries with our licensed medical professional.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, like you just mentioned, Kyler Murray being placed on IR, um, which is will be the end of his. I don't know. I actually don't know what his injury was.
Their timeline says
It was
4 to 8 weeks.
okay. So
But
maybe not the end of the season, but very well could be considering where we're at.
yep.
So, and especially if Brissett's named the starter. Maybe before, maybe right at. It could be a decision to shut him down for the rest of the year at this point. Um, which is just in time for the new Call of Duty game, I've been told. Other injury news.
Convenient. Is it really an injury?
Convenient. Yeah, I did say somebody faked an injury this week, but he did
Oh,
not.
oh.
That we won't go into that. We might reference it a little bit
Well, I
later,
think you
but that
should
guy
actually
didn't.
go into that right now.
True. So we were watching a game this week
It
together, the three of us, and I watched Jaden Daniels go down while he was losing badly.
was 38-7.
And yeah, and I said that he had faked an injury to get off the field because it was going so badly. Before they rolled the tape back, and we saw maybe the most gruesome arm injury I've seen in the
That
NFL.
was nasty.
I think I've seen worse ankle injuries, like if or even like
Oh yeah, the
leg
the
injuries.
Achilles
Yeah,
or
or I feel
ACL.
like Nick Chubb was probably up there on worst
Oh
injury I've ever seen.
yeah.
Yeah, the was it? I think Dak Prescott had a really bad ankle injury too. You could watch,
Yep.
but anyways, worst arm injury I've ever seen in the NFL, at least to my knowledge. Jaden Daniels, he'll be out for the rest of the season. They're doing some surgery on that. Tucker Craft tore his ACL. That'll shut him down for the rest of the season. Um, and it's late enough in the season, even with a deep playoff run. I don't think he'll be back for
Tucker
that or
Craft, no,
anything
he's
that way.
done, done, done.
Yeah. Brian Thomas, high ankle sprain. He's been dealing with this. I feel like this is the same injury he's been struggling with
Shoulder.
the last couple. Oh, was it shoulder before? Yeah. So, anyways, he's been injured a couple times. He's questionable this week. Obviously, in slight other news, Jacoby Myers just got added, so maybe a replacement for him. C.J. Stroud concussion. He's already ruled out for this week, so it means Texas will be going on without him with Davis Mills. Coop. Oh, Cooper Cup. I used to say Cooper Cup. I don't know why I looked at that and said Cooper Cup. Puka Nakua, who now plays for the Rams. Chest injury, but looks like he'll play this week. Aaron Jones had an AC joint sprain, listed as questionable. Kayshon Boutte has a hamstring, and Matthew Golden has a shoulder injury.
I believe Matthew Golden.
So,
Never mind.
yeah. So that kind of rounds out injury wise. Obviously, each individual have some effects on this week. I think in my mind, the Tucker Kraft injury is the biggest injury to my feelings about that team going forward. Honestly,
Not Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels' team was already kind of
Yeah.
cooked.
Oh, yeah.
Even with him there, I think and CJ. I mean, that doesn't matter, but I think Tucker Kraft being injured will significantly hurt the Packers, which will come
That's
out in my
fair.
prediction later. So
Will it?
it will. It will.
All right. Well, I look
That takes
forward
us
to that.
to the first game, Thursday night.
It does, yes. So Thursday night we have the Raiders going on the road to take on the Denver Broncos, who are 9.5-point home favorites. Broncos are winning this game. The Raiders just traded away one of their better offensive pieces in Jacoby Myers, as Jared just mentioned. The Broncos have started to look really good on offense. It looks like they're finding their form the last few weeks. I don't really think the Raiders can win this. I don't think they can cover the spread.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Broncos have this game pretty easily. I'm not a huge Broncos fan. I think they've been playing some pretty bad football at times, but they've been winning. They're one of the top teams. What are they, 7-2?
Yeah, I believe that's
Is
right.
that right? So I mean, winning a ton of games. So I can't knock them for that. Just playing some ugly football at times. But yeah, I think the Broncos will win this game. Which takes us into our next game. We have. Is this our last of the international games? It might be. It's a Germany game. Colts versus the Falcons. Of course, the Colts have home field advantage, being in Germany, because that makes them the 6.5 point
The
favorite for this
final
one.
the final international game is next week when the Commanders take on the Dolphins in Madrid.
That'll be a good game.
That's gotta be, they gotta hand out tickets to get people to go to that game. My goodness.
Yeah, not even any Tyreek to make it fun. Anyways, yeah, so Colts favored in this game by about a touchdown. I actually think the Falcons will win this game. There's been some really impressive games by the Falcons and some really embarrassing games by the Falcons, but they definitely have the offense to win it. It's just, can the defense carry through? Obviously, the Colts were a juggernaut on offense until last week. We'll see if that continues. And then their defense, I think, is kind of touted as a really good defense, but they let 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers beat them. So I don't know if they're that good of a offense or a defense, excuse me.
Yeah.
Although they did have to defend against 6 turnovers. So maybe there's not many defenses that could have their offense turn over 6 times and keep a team to as low as points as they get the Steelers to.
Yeah, I mean, what was
I
it,
think my only issue
27-20 at the end?
Yeah, which is a little bit inaccurate of how that game actually went. If you
Fair.
actually watched the game, it wasn't really that close, but you're definitely right. They kept them to not a lot of points on the Steelers side. I just don't think the 20 points from the Colts showed anything, because 14 of those
No, that's
points
fair.
were
It was all
13
late.
of those
Yeah, it was late in
were
the game.
very. So, but anyways, Colts, I think defense is pretty impressive. So we'll see how they stack up against the Falcons.
Garbage time is a heck of a thing in football. You know what else is a heck of a thing? 1 week wonders. And sometimes teams have a week where you're just like, whoa, and they really get your attention. Other times they have a bad week and you're like, wait, are they who they thought they were? I think that's what happened last week. I think the Colts just had a rough week, and the Steelers got a good matchup, and were pretty motivated coming off of a terrible game the week before against the
Yeah,
Bengals. So
and at home.
Mike Tomlin off of a loss is like one of the best coaches in football. So um, yeah, I think the Colts get back on track, and we've talked about the Falcons before. They're hot and cold, but they're usually this year they haven't been hot on the road, which probably
Mm.
means they'll be hot in another country. Just how the random the Falcons are this year. Um, but we do have the Germany game, and I think that the home field Colts are going to take this dub.
Yeah, yeah.
Moving on,
Our next game, we have Saints Panthers. Panthers at home with 5.5 point favorites actually on this game. After a huge win against the Packers last week, I think the Panthers will continue to take care of business. Neither of these teams are amazing, but the Saints are pretty awful.
and just traded away
And
Rashid Shaheed.
yeah, and just traded away, yeah, and a defensive guy, I think too. Didn't they move someone else? I don't know. They traded away pieces. Panthers are trying to make a push here for the playoffs. I mean, they're not out of that conversation yet, so there's a lot to play for if you're a Panthers player. I think the Panthers will cover this spread easy and win the game outright.
So they traded an offensive lineman to the Chargers
Yeah,
also.
the hurt Chargers, yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I think the Panthers are winning this game. Now we don't agree on the next game. We
No, we do
have
not.
the New York Giants going on the road at the Chicago Bears in Chicago, who are favored by 4.5. Now look, at some point you think this is a bit, but no. Jackson Dart is actually playing like a one of the top 10 quarterbacks in football with very little weapons around him. I think that continues this week. I didn't believe in him last week against the Niners, but I should have. He had another good game. He's now even further the favorite for Rookie of the Year. So I'm going to keep pushing this agenda, but this is also actual belief in the player. I think they're going to go on the road and beat a very, um, I mean, the Bears are a 5-3 team right now, but they don't feel like a 5-3 team. They feel more like a 3-5 team, 4-4, you know. And the Giants, they definitely do not feel as bad as they have been at 2-7 because of the way that Dart has been playing. So I have them pulling off the upset in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm not sure that'll happen. I saw the Bears offense look really good last week. Now, obviously, it was against arguably, or not maybe even arguably,
Yeah,
the worst defense in the NFL this year, in the Bengals. Even worse than the Cowboys and even worse than the Steelers,
I was gonna say no
and Jets.
surprise. The Bears' two best offensive games, the Cowboys and the Bengals.
Yeah. So I don't know. That might not be really the indicator. They know how to score. I mean, there's definitely an argument like to be able to execute when even when a team is not great. Um, and the Bengals offense is great. I mean, they are lighting up everybody too. So I don't really think that the Bears defense is horrible, even though they let up like almost 40 points. Um, so I do think the Bears win this at home field, and the Giants, like you said, I think Dart's good, but there's just too much against them. I think for this game,
Hater.
I might be. And our next game after that is Jaguars at the Texans. Texans are actually favored in this game, which is a little surprising if I'm being completely
With a
honest.
backup
But I
QB.
do like the Texans in this game. Even with a backup QB, yeah, I think that the Texans defense has actually been playing pretty competitive football recently, and the Jaguars are hurting offensively, and I think that matchup alone will give the Texans the W here. My crazy prediction for this one is that the Texans will win off a last second field goal after Trevor Lawrence is driving. He'll throw an INT and they'll be in field goal range and they'll kick it when they didn't even have time, but because it was a field goal or because it was an interception, they got the ball back and blah blah blah. And the Jaguars will cry and Trevor will probably get a haircut and paint his nails or something. So yeah, Texans win this one.
He's gonna turn full Caleb Williams then, huh?
He might. He might.
He's gonna anyway.
What about you? What
Yeah,
do you think about this one?
I disagree. I think the Jaguars are winning this game. If it was CJ Stroud, Texans are winning by like 14 touchdowns. But with it being Davis Mills, just no chance. No chance. Again, this is like the Niners game from a few weeks ago where it's like, how are the Texans favored? And I'm gonna say this every time I see the Texans minus 1.5. It's just scarred me now. I just have trauma from that Niners game where the Texans just blew them out of the water. Um, yeah, I have the Jaguars winning this game in Houston, but I also have the crazy prediction for this game since Jared did. I thought, why not? Let's make it fun. So my prediction is the Jaguars are going to get a scoop and score off Davis Mills in the last 2 minutes to either win or seal this game. And yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully, one of us hits it right on because it'd be fun to come back next week and talk about our wild prediction.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and that should
next.
count for 2 points if it's right.
All right, we'll do. Deal. Next game, we've got the Bills minus 8.5 going on the road to take on the Dolphins in Miami. Um, yeah, I think the Bills are winning this game. I don't really think we need to talk about it too much.
Nah, I think this will be pretty,
Yeah,
pretty devastating for the Dolphins. I mean, they don't ever play the Bills that great. I don't feel like.
they kept
Um,
it. They kept it within 10 last time.
yeah, that's true. But with intent, it's not winning. So
No, no, it's not. Speaking of not winning, we have the Ravens favored by 4.5 going on the road to the Vikings.
mm,
Neither of these teams have been winning very much. The Vikings are sitting there at 4-4. The Patriots at 3-5. I'm sorry, I said Patriots. I meant Ravens. The Ravens are 3-5. So
yeah,
I have the
it's a must win for the
Ravens.
Ravens.
It's kind of a must win for both teams because that NFC North is very, very
Mm,
competitive, and the Vikings need to keep pace. I'm gonna go
true.
Ravens here because their defense is getting healthier. Lamar is back, and they're starting to look more of like the team we thought they would before they started 1-5. So I'll go Ravens here to get the road upset, or sorry, road
Yeah.
victory.
Yeah, I'm still not really bought into the Ravens yet. They had a good game last week with Lamar back, and they, of course, won the game before that with Tyler Huntley at the helm. Um, this Vikings team just had their most impressive game of the year against the Lions. And this Ravens team is kind of already in a every win or every game is like their playoff chances. Like they could drop a maximum of 2 games before they're looking at missing the playoffs.
True.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know in the AFC this year. I guess wild card. They're 2 games out of not being able
Eight.
to
You
win the
can't.
division.
You're probably not getting in with more than 8 losses.
Yeah,
8 is
and
like
you're already at
you're really needing help.
yeah, and you're already at 5. So like you they basically need to dominate the division, which will be the hardest part. Like they can't drop a divisional game because they'll be in trouble otherwise. But anyways, besides that, I think the Vikings will win this game. They played really impressively last week, and I think they're good at making JJ McCarthy not have to do a lot. And I think that's again what we'll see this week. He will throw about 8 passes like that Penn State game, and he'll get a dub.
That is fair. Um, but speaking of making your quarterback not have to do a lot, we have the Cleveland Browns going on the road to take on the New York Jets, who are favored by 1.5. I'm not sure why or how the Jets are favored in this game. Very confusing. In case you don't know, they just traded away Quentin Williams, who's one of the best D linemen in the NFL, and Sauce Gardner, who so far this season is I believe the highest graded corner in the NFL. Um, their future looks
He
bright
might be.
for the Jets. Um, and yeah, one quarterback in the Browns. They try the game plan is don't let him do too much. For the Jets, it's hero ball. The quarterback has to do everything in order to keep them in this game. And Fields has not played well enough this year to do that. Now, before the bye, we did see him have a great game, but I think the Browns are winning
He's
this game.
actually not top 3 according to
Oh,
POF. PFF.
my fault. But he is a great
It
corner.
goes
He's probably a top 5
no,
corner.
yes, yeah, no, for sure. I think he's actually on PFF. It looks like he's number 5.
Okay.
So,
Well, I have the Browns in this game with the road upset.
yeah, and I would agree. I think the Browns will win this game. I think with the cue ball or Quentin Williams trade, they call him cue ball.
I did not know that. I'm finding
Oh,
that out
really?
live for the first
I only
time.
knew that because of John. I think. Uh, I think that Judkins will have a big game against them. Uh, he's kind of been the bread and butter. If they just hand it to him 35 times, I think they'll win. So they should just do that probably.
We can hand it to Jerome Ford about 15 also. Win.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I think the Browns win that game. The next game after that we have is the Patriots at the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are favored by 2.5 in this game. This will be a fun game. I think, regardless of how this
Yeah.
goes, this should be entertaining. Just because Drake May, Baker Mayfield are both fun quarterbacks to watch. Um, I think the Patriots are kind of the darlings of this year to an extent. Like, I like,
No one expected
and
them to
maybe
be
it's
number
because
one in the division at this point.
yeah, for sure. And maybe it's I don't know, maybe I don't like the Colts, but like I like the Colts. I know Colts are like fan favorites by some. I actually like the Patriots. Like it'd be more fun in my opinion to watch the Patriots go far this year than the Colts. But I think this game will not go the Patriots way. I think the Buccaneers will win this game. Uh Baker Mayfield is MVP favorite, as we were talking about earlier. So this is kind of actually a fun matchup. We'll get MVP favorite versus MVP favorite. Top five in odds to win it this game. Um, and we'll see who comes out on top.
We will see who comes out on top, and it's the one that will come out on top at the end of the season. I don't know if he'll win the MVP, but I think he'll finish higher than Baker Mayfield. I've
In
got the
odds for sure.
Patriots. I've got the Patriots going on the road to beat the Buccaneers. Did you, Jared? Did you know the Patriots have the number one rushing defense in the NFL?
I did not know that.
That is kind of crazy, kind of mind blowing because I don't think of the Patriots as like an elite defense, but they're kind of a pass funnel. They're giving up a good amount of
Mm,
yards in the passing game, but they're not giving up rushing yardage, which I think is helpful for the offense because then if you get down, if teams just try
mm,
and run on you, it'll buy the
they can't.
offense time to get back in the game. Exactly. So for that reason, I'm going Patriots. I think they get Travion Henderson a little more involved. I think Ramondre might be back this week. We'll see. Um, kind of hope he's not. To be selfish, just heal up, Ramondre. Get well. Yeah, I've got the Patriots with the road upset. Sorry, just had to confirm that. Next, we've got the Cardinals on the road at the Seahawks, who are favored by 6.5. Now, the Seahawks did just trade for Rashid Shaheed. Should help their offense out a little bit, give them a deep threat, really to help JSN work more in the intermediate and short area of the field. That Seahawks offense has a lot of good options now, including
Mhm.
no, I feel like I can officially say it without a lot of pushback because I think it's just common knowledge now, but with the best receiver in the NFL, man, that feels good. And the complementary pieces they have with as elite as they are. The Cardinals with Jacoby Brissett looked good last week. I know it was the Cowboys, but this is crazy. The Cardinals coaching staff last week on the way to the game decided, great idea. Let's get our number 4 overall pick from last year. Let's try to get him the ball in the first drive of the game.
Mm.
What a mind-blowing concept. Yeah, I've got the
I think more
Cardinals.
OCs could take some notes on that.
Honestly, you're right. If you draft a guy in the first 36 picks, you should get them the ball at Patriots. Um, but yeah, I have the Cardinals. I think they go back to that game plan because it worked. They had 5 Marv targets in the first quarter. He had a touchdown. He was cooking Duron Bland for the Cowboys. I have the Cardinals pulling off the touchdown upset in Seattle.
Yeah, that's your biggest upset pick of the
And
week.
also, by
Um,
the way, one last thing here. The Seahawks at home have been kind of bad. That's all.
they have struggled at home, which is an odd stat for them, obviously. Um, Yeah, I think the Seahawks will win this game. The Cardinals, like you said, did look good against the Cowboys, but I don't know that that'll continue another week. I've seen the Seahawks play some really good football, dominate a lot of teams recently. They put a hurting on the Commanders last week, who are a hurting team, but kind of took care of business there. So I think that the Seahawks will win this game, and they'll cover at 6.5 too.
Ooh, water bet
Water bet.
the spread or the money line.
I think the spread's more fun.
Okay, we'll water bet the spread. It'll be on the pod next week, maybe.
Maybe, maybe.
Anyway,
We should do it on that really cold day. The what is that, Monday morning?
ooh,
It's supposed to be 40 degrees out.
ooh, that's
Be
dirty
fun.
work, but maybe. Anyway,
Next game after that is the
yeah,
Rams
we do.
Niners.
Yes, it is the Rams
What do you think
Niners.
about that game?
I do think the Rams are 3.5 point favorites on the road against the Niners. Ricky Pearsall's still probably not going to be back for the Niners. They do have Christian McCaffrey, and that's apparently all they need to be competitive. But
Just barely.
unfortunately, they're going up against some great options for the Rams on offense. We got Matthew Stafford at quarterback. He's creeped into the top 5 in MVP voting, or sorry, MVP odds, not voting. And Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. The Niners will have their hands full, and then some, because the Rams are going to win this game.
Yeah, I agree. Rams will have this game pretty easily. I think that I've picked against the Niners a couple times and regretted it. They've won a lot more games than I thought they would this year.
You also have
Um,
picked them to beat the Rams when they were touchdown underdogs
mm,
a couple weeks
yeah,
back.
but I think the Rams will win this game.
Okay. What do you think about the
And then
next
the
game?
game after that we have is Lions at Commanders. Lions are 8.5 point favorites at the Commanders, which after the Commanders we saw last week, I don't think it's that surprising. Obviously, they lost by a ton. They lost their leader in Jaden Daniels. This team's just hurting, and sadly, I don't think the Lions are going to help that at all. Coming off a bad loss to the Vikings, I think they'll be very motivated, and this could be a run it up type game for the Lions. I mean, it could get ugly. It could get
Ooh.
ugly.
I think you're right. I think it might.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd probably take them at like 16.5 point favorites.
Whoa, that's crazy. Bet the alternative spread is what Jared's saying.
That- You could. You'd really
Anyway,
cash out some more
while
some
I
money if you did.
while I preview this next game, you can go put a money line bet on that, Jared. We got the Steelers going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Chargers in LA. The Chargers are minus 3.5 point favorites. I was going back and forth on this game. I can see I could see either team winning a blowout. I could see either team winning a close game. The Steelers stay being heart attack kings in all these close games that they play this season. I was just looking at that. There's like 2 games I think where they weren't 1 score games this year, and they were both losses. So if the Chargers are going to win, I think they're going to win by 2 scores. But um, I think that's kind of how that happens. I do think the Chargers will defend home field, even though their home crowd is usually pretty bad. They don't really have a huge advantage. So I have the Chargers winning this game.
Yeah, I don't know that I could see that happening. I don't know where you're pulling your stats, but the Steelers beat the Browns by more than 2 scores, so that's not true on
My
how
fault.
things
My
go for
fault.
the
Missed that
Steelers.
game. I just deleted that game
Um,
from my memory.
I know I would too if I was a Browns fan. I would too. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. The Steelers have had some pretty awful games this year. I mean, they just had 2 in a row against the Bengals. Wasn't an awful game. I mean, everyone plays
I
the Bengals
mean,
that way apparently. But you lost, which is the awful
that's
part of
the
it. If
awful
you
part.
if you did that and you won like the Bears did, like nobody's making fun of the Bears, although they might should a little bit.
The
You
Steelers
know,
keep. I know this is the Steelers are like proof that transitive property in the NFL doesn't exist because they destroyed the Browns and they beat the Jets. The Jets beat the Bengals and the Browns beat the Packers.
yeah, yeah, and the Packers, yeah, and the Packers put a beat down on us. I mean,
Yeah.
that game is another game where the ending score looked better than the game did.
Yeah.
Like, if you just look at the box score on that, you're like, "Oh, the Steelers only lost by 10." The Steelers lost that game by, like, 35. It wasn't particularly close. The ending score, I mean, the first half of that game, we were up 16-17, and after that, we crapped the bed the rest of the way. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, just another one of those games. But back to this game, Chargers Steelers. I actually like the Steelers in this one. A little bit of a homer pick, but I also think with the injury to Joe Alt, and some
True.
other injuries that the Chargers are struggling with. I think the pass rush, in my hope, the pass rush of the Steelers will be able to get cooking against Herbert again, and that the offense will do just enough, which has kind of been the formula for winning is generating turnovers, and the offense doesn't shoot themselves in the face too much, and then they win. So that's the hope for the Steelers on this one. But I think it'll be close. I don't foresee this game getting out of hand unless it goes the Chargers way early, and then maybe.
The
But
the odds would say it'll be close too, because that's Steelers football most of the
yeah,
time. I mean, 6 out of 9
yeah,
games this year have been that way. So
yeah, yeah,
are
for
they? Have
sure.
they had their bye? The Steelers had their bye, right?
Yes, we've had our
Okay,
bye.
so 5 out of 9 games have been close.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next game, Jared, the last game of the week.
Yes. The last game of the week. The team I was just talking about, or we were just kind of alluding to. This Eagles at the Packers. The Packers are actually favored by 2.5. I
At
don't
home.
see why at home. Even at home, I don't see why you'd take the Packers. The Eagles just win games. That's what they've been doing for about 2 years now. Winning games. And the Packers just lost in my opinion, their best offensive piece in Tucker Craft. He looks like the best offensive piece
The
at
best
least.
receiving threat for sure.
Yes. Um, and they came off a very ugly game. I think the Packers will be looking to come back from that, but the Eagles is a tough team to do that against. Um, yeah, I think the Eagles win this game.
I agree. The Eagles did not trade AJ Brown, so I think they'll trade that for a W. Anyway, and now the most fun part of the show every week. We've got our
Yeah.
bold takes for week 10. But first, we're gonna go back and review week 9. So, Jared, you want to start off with your week 9 take? What happened here?
Yes, my week 9 take. So I actually had Josh Downs going for 175 and 2 touchdowns. It was kind of I picked the Steelers to win the game, but I thought that they'd still get cooked at by somebody.
High scoring.
They
Yeah.
did. They did get cooked a little bit throughout by a couple wide receivers. It was not Josh Downs, although Josh Downs had a great game, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a Josh
He had a
Downs
good game.
fantasy owner, you have 6 catches, 53 yards, and a touchdown, you were happy. He didn't look bad, but he didn't I kind of shot for the moon and, um,
Landon
didn't hit
on
it.
the earth.
Yeah, landed on the Earth in, like, Texas or something. So, pretty good shot, just not moon worthy.
Yeah, I think if you landed in Texas, you might have been shooting for the sun and just ended up a little colder than the sun. But speaking of, I feel like my take was kind of similar. Marvin Harrison Jr. 175 and 2 was the prediction. He went 7 for 96 and a touchdown. Like we said earlier, 5 first quarter targets. They decided to get him the ball. Whoa, crazy thought. Get your top 5 draft pick the football. He ended up with 7 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. I think if they needed him more, that he would have probably gotten all the way to the line. But I mean, again, like you said with Josh Downs, a great game if you have him in fantasy. Nobody expected Marv to go off for 20 plus fantasy points because he hasn't this year.
Mm,
But yeah, as good as our predictions were, neither one of us could have gotten anywhere as close as Brett last week, and I'm a little disappointed he's
nope.
not able to be here to talk about this because
Yeah,
he had an ultra homer pick. He had the
he did.
Steelers um, losing to the Colts somehow, but he
Yep,
did predict them to bottle up Jonathan Taylor. He said less than 50 yards with 0 touchdowns. 14 carries, 45 yards on the ground, 2 catches, 12 yards. 57 total yards, no touchdowns. Almost bang
yeah,
on for Brett.
yeah,
Almost.
yeah,
And no one
yeah.
saw that coming.
Yeah, the Steelers' run, defense hasn't been great of late. The Steelers' defense in general,
Yeah.
and then Jonathan Taylor coming in as pretty much the running back to play.
Yeah, we looked at last week. He
Um,
was averaging 6 points more in fantasy per game than any other running back.
yeah, yeah. So going completely off, and they completely shut him down. Worst game of the year for him by far. Um, yeah, yeah. It was quite the pick by Brett there. Quite the pick.
It was. And we went wide receivers last week. We're both going back to the well this week. I'm going with a
Yep.
little more of a breakout. I feel like mine's a little bit hotter than yours. Not to throw any shade, but I've got Tedero McMillan taking on the New Orleans Saints, going for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Panthers might have found something last week. Did you know, Jared? Did you know that the Panthers are currently sitting at 5-4?
I did know that, and it's only because I saw the meme again about the Chiefs and Panthers having the same record, and how funny that every time that happens, how funny that is.
That is crazy to think about because Bryce Young,
But
Patrick Mahomes. I honestly,
yeah,
which quarterback would you rather have? It's a toss up.
it's a
Yeah,
toss up.
Tedero
This time of
McMillan,
year, it's hard
130 and 2 is
to
the
say.
pick.
Yeah, that would definitely be exciting. I don't know if I would argue that the Saints is a harder matchup than what my wide receiver has to go against this week. Um, so my pick for um, hot take of the week is against the Colts, and I have Drake London going for 145 and 2 touchdowns. And the why I think that's a hot take is they just traded for arguably one of the best cornerbacks in the league, and I don't know if you knew this, but they already have the second best cornerback in the league in Shardavius Ward on the Colts, who is
I,
the second highest graded PFF cornerback in the NFL. So I think that my hot take of 145 and 2 is quite hot, even if you don't think so.
I just want to jump in here real quick. It is hot. I get what you're saying with Sauce Gardner coming over from the Jets, but the Colts have the fifth worst passing defense in the NFL. I don't know how much of that is because they're just up by a lot and it's a lot of garbage time for the other team most of the season, or if this is actually just a really bad pass defense. But just wanted to throw a little bit of cold water on your take, just like I'm gonna be throwing cold water on you next week when the
That is true.
um, Cardinals cover the spread.
Mm, that's true. It's interesting that they could have the second highest graded cornerback though, and and obviously he
To
doesn't
this
mean
point,
anything now.
yeah,
Adding another one. So we'll see how it goes the rest of the way.
we
We'll see.
will, and we will see you
Yeah,
guys after week 10.
you will indeed when my take hits.